Good morning. It is a little after 9:30 and we're at the park. I was listening to what's been my favorite band recently, 21 Pilots. They have a song called Midwest Indigo, and I really like that song because I'm from the Midwest and it's very relatable. There's a line at the end of that song. He says, "I'm a bit too old to run away." And I think that really struck me because I've realized that I'm a bit too old to run away as well. When I was younger, I used to run away from responsibility, from difficult conversations, from conflict with other people, and from hard things. I would find a way to run away from them, or I would use the skill of my tongue to twist a situation to not be focusing on me anymore, and so that I wouldn't have to deal with whatever that thing was. But I'm a bit too old for that now. Not necessarily a matter of age, but a matter of spiritual age. The book of James tells us that the tongue is a deadly poison. We use it to hurt our brother, and every time we use it for that, we're cursing God himself because we are made in his image. Manipulation of a situation. Oh, that's a nice little rhyme. Manipulation situation. Manipulation is very easy to fall into. It's a very easy sin to fall into because you can just as easily manipulate others as you can yourself. I often manipulate myself where I will justify things in my head. One of the things that was really bad when I would use self-help as a shield for procrastination. I can't go do this thing because I haven't done this thing yet. I think a lot of people do that. Well, I can't be in a relationship unless I'm perfect. So instead, I'm just gonna completely avoid any of the situations where I could be doing the difficult thing of having a conversation with another individual because I don't want to do that. And instead, I'm gonna just hide behind self-help, self-improvement. I still do that sometimes. My biggest one right now is, well, I can't do more voice acting stuff because I need to make my booth better. But I know that I'm manipulating myself into procrastinating about that because my booth is fine. It's just not exactly as I'd like it. Manipulation of the self can be just as harmful as manipulation of others. Listen to yourself next time you're making a decision. Chances are, if you're an indecisive person, you'll hear it. You'll hear that loud voice and it'll say, no, don't do that. Because what if this? Some people call that anxiety. A lot of doctors call it anxiety. I think that there is definitely a place for mental health awareness in faith, but I do also think that anxiety can be learned. Anxiety can be habitual rather than some sort of messed up thing in your mind. All it takes is one time for that little voice of self-manipulation or worry to be right, and then it goes, see, you did it, see? What now? Well, I'll tell you what now. Now the next time it comes up, you're that much more likely to believe it, and it will keep you stuck. It will keep you stagnant, because often things that we are anxious about are either very unlikely or just straight up not going to happen. We let our anxieties go unchecked for so long that they turn into fact in our head. It's when you get people who are so anxious that they won't even drive. I know a few people like that. It's debilitating. Now again, not saying that there's no such thing as anxiety disorder or anxiety mental illness. That is definitely a thing. I don't think it's always that. I think we have a tendency to overdiagnose. But that is a different conversation. It can be really easy to run away from anything that's hard, anything that takes time away from the things that you want to do. Hearing some yahoo on the internet talk about how you shouldn't worry about things often doesn't help, because for the vast majority of you watching, I am just some yahoo on the internet. That's why I like to include practical advice in these videos, because if I felt it's sufficient to just spout information that you should be doing and not practice it myself, well, for one, I'd probably make these videos a lot faster. And for two, probably also have a lot more subscribers. There would be no reason for you to believe me. These videos would be empty. There'd be no substance. If you want just words, listen to somebody read, which, by the way, I also do. The Bible even says, faith without works is dead. You could say you're a believer all you want, but if you show no works, if you don't apply any of the belief, any of the faith, any of the knowledge that you get from the Bible, your faith is as good as dead, my friend. I was like that for a while. Foundation of sand, not of rock. And that's a really difficult place to be, because if anybody challenges you on your faith, you got nothing. And so that makes people think that there is nothing. You're not leading by example. My good buddy Daniel right now is showing a lot of works for his faith. He's in Burma right now, helping out with a multi-decade, almost a century-long civil war. My buddy Nathan showing a lot of works in his faith, just dropping everything and joining the army from Minnesota to Georgia, just completely in the other area. Started learning about things that he had no idea, and that's his job now. Thinking about this a lot because recently I did a short STEM presentation for my paleobiology, and the first thing about that is that before I had actually acquired the certificate, I would still act as if I was certified, even though I hadn't purchased the certificate. I had done the course, so I hadn't left any more knowledge on the table. I just hadn't purchased the certificate. I was running from that. I wanted to reap the benefits of being certified without actually paying for the certificate. But now I'm going through, and all those things that I've done, all those courses that I've completed, it's difficult. It's frustrating to go through. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. I've been teaching this and using this knowledge for years now, so it's a little frustrating to have to go through it again, but it's important for integrity. I could have just continued to run away, but I'm a bit too old to run away. So as I was doing this STEM presentation at Starbase, which is a learning center that is on an Air National Guard base near our airport. It's really, really cool actually. But anyway, I was there, and these are all fellow STEM educators, but these are people who are way beyond my education or skill level in their own areas. Obviously not within mine. They wouldn't have asked me to come in and present. But I did a presentation on paleobiology and what a paleobiologist actually does and why it's different from a paleontologist. And one of the students came up to me afterwards, after he had just gotten to touch this 170 million year old trilobite fossil, which has been dated with, carbon dating, came up to me and he said, "My parents don't think the Earth is that old." He said, "What do you think?" Now, there's a couple of different ways that I could go with that. If I was on a foundation of sand, I would probably just say, ask your parents. But in this setting, I was utilizing my faith. He was maybe 10, 12 years old. And I said, well, I believe that science and religion lift each other up rather than debunking one another. I think that the Earth can be trillions of years old and God can still exist. I personally think that it's a bit of a asinine opinion to try to put God in a box like that. Genesis was a prophetic vision. It didn't actually happen in 7 days. It was probably 7 trillion years. And I think that if dinosaurs are birds and had feathers, then that means that a being that created all of everything just can't exist. I think you're putting God in a box. So I told the kid how I felt about it, and I said, I encourage you to do your own research. A lot of people debate this. This is what I believe. You know what your parents believe. Do your own research. Come to your own conclusions. And upon hearing that, one of the teachers had come to me and had said, hey, one of the teachers in the other classroom has a bunch of questions for you about how you can have your faith and be a paleobiologist and still believe in dinosaurs. Which isn't surprising, but it still kind of blows my mind that we can have bones and fossils of these amazing, great creatures, and people can still say that, well, I mean, obviously, that must be fake because God's real. I think that's crazy. And for $5, I'll tell you how I really feel. So I ended up staying an hour afterwards to talk to all of the teachers and answer all the questions that they had about not just my faith, but they had questions about the animals that they couldn't ask during the presentation because they wanted the children to interact. That was a great experience, a very lovely experience. Answering those questions, I didn't get any more. I didn't get oh, well, let's agree to disagree. There seemed to be genuine understanding of like, well, that makes sense. If you believe in an all-powerful being that can do anything, why does it stop at evolution? Why are there still monkeys? God wanted there to be monkeys. Ask him. And had I still been running away from difficult conversations with my foundation on sand, I wouldn't have had that incredible experience. I I wouldn't have built those connections. I wouldn't be going back in October. Well, presumably in October. They're getting me the dates, but I wouldn't be going back to put on a different hat. So as you go throughout your day, making your decisions, feeling your anxiety and your worry, and hearing that loud, panicked voice of doubt and fear in the back of your head, we've all got it, at least a little. Some of us got it more. I encourage you to think to yourself if that's truly a worry, or if it is just coming from that little voice of panic that wants to run away. Test it, see if it aligns, and then take a step towards the opposite thing, whatever that little voice is telling you. And it's okay, it's scary, you're gonna feel a lot of feelings, but it's gonna be okay, because I love you, and God loves you more. Have a blessed day.